This is the fifth and final video in my in-depth clicker tutorials covering the weathering of the clothes and the final application. For my clothes, I cut off chunks using my scissors based on my main reference image and where her clothes were worn away or torn off. Then using a rasp, a Suform tool, and sandpaper, I scraped over the fabric to make holes, scuff it up, and have threads come loose to make it look older, worn in, and weathered. I made a strong cup of tea and used this around areas that might be stained, like the pit stains, down the front of the shirt and around the edges. I also had a cup of coffee for brown staining and some diluted mouldlife aged blood, along with non-diluted aged blood to create worn-in blood over the clothing. Lastly, I went over it with some Mehron dirts, but these tended to sit pretty obviously on top of the clothing, so I tried to work it into the fabric using the wet tea and wet coffee. Sometimes I did need to add water on top as well and just really scrunch the clothing up. Then I would line dry these clothes. I would not recommend tumble drying them because you will get shit all over your tumble dryer, which is typically where the clean clothes go. Now for the application, this took me about an hour. I started by putting down a light layer of white body paint on all exposed skin using like a powder puff thing. It can be patchy, doesn't have to be even coverage. Then I cut up some shapes out of a white foam board to mimic the fungus growing out of the clicker and started adhering them to my skin using a thickened Prosade cream called Bondo. You can put as many or as little as you like. I did it mostly on my neck and shoulders and a couple on my arms. In hindsight, I think I will go to the effort to properly sculpt some of these out and make small molds for them, and then pre-paint them just to get a better effect for when I wear these out to cons. Then I used a form of gelatin called Mehron's 3D gel to put a thin layer wherever I wanted the moldy, fuzzy look. When it was still sticky and wet, I stuck down some cotton ball fibers, and after I let them dry in the gelatin, I would try to remove most of the cotton buildup just to leave a thin layer of fuzz. You can also do this in silicone, so using something like 3rd degree or sculpt gel or a thickened skin-safe silicone, and that way it will completely dry and won't have the sticky feel that gelatin can leave on the skin. I covered the edges of the foam board with cotton fibers as well to make it look more like it was coming out of my body rather than sitting on top of my skin. I also cut out little round foam circles and painted them grey, sticking those around my neck and chest to break things up more. Then to help it look less uniform and more muddy and gross, I started airbrushing some grey Skin Illustrator inks around the fungus parts and cotton fibers, and a little bit down onto my arms, using mostly the Grunge Palette for this. To make sure my real upper teeth were not visible under the mask, I added a layer of black tooth enamel by Kryolan. First I had to dry off my teeth and then paint it on, and as I am the only person using this product, I am using their applicator which goes back into the bottle, but if you are using this in your kit and on multiple people, it is very important to decant a little of this product into a disposable cup and then use a disposable brush to apply it, as the mouth and the saliva have a lot of transmittable diseases. Then you need to wait for this layer of tooth enamel to dry before putting your lips back down over your teeth. Next I added some mouldlife aged blood down the front of my face and neck. And then to get grosser looking hair, first I hairsprayed my hair down and back away from my face, teased it a little bit, and then added some cheap conditioner and hairspray to make it look clumpy, greasy, and crusty. To finish, I added my clicker mask. The elastic at the back is hidden under my hair, and the attachment to my face is hidden by the sculpt extending over and outwards, kind of to hide the edge and where it begins. This is a close-up of the teeth, so you can see it looks fairly convincing and my real teeth are pretty well hidden. It also means that I can talk, eat and drink without this makeup being affected at all, which is a godsend at Comic-Con. Now I'll be wearing this out to Perth Comic-Con this year. I will have to practice my freaky clicker sounds and stance. I do really like the finished result because I can take the mask off in a second if I need to properly see, or while heading out or heading home I can easily drive and then pop the mask back on before heading inside. To remove it, just simply take off the mask, and then I remove all of the fuzz and foam pieces with some makeup remover. I'm using isopropyl mirror state. Then once the foam and the cotton are off, I brush my teeth to get all the black tooth enamel paint off, and I shower to finish washing off all the body paint and get all the product out of my hair. Thanks for watching. If you want to see the other parts of this tutorial, you can find them all here, and feel free to subscribe to get updates when new videos are released.